I don't think there's...
Cut!
I don't think there's any...
Alright, that's a wrap.
I don't think there's
Alright, we gotta wrap this up. Sorry.
I don't think... Good evening.
Yeah.
I can talk now.
Now you can talk.
Imparables.
Good.
Imparables is a story about a boy in search of truth. A story about a boy who leaves home, challenging everything that he's been taught his entire life, in search of something different, something that he really doesn't know, but he has the feeling or the instinct that it's out there. And it's a story about the challenges that he faces along the way.
What is Imparables?
How's my chin look? Imparables.
Just start talking whenever you're ready.
Imparables is a concept album about a boy in search for truth and the journeys along his way. And behind the scenes, what it incorporates is stories from all of us in our lives and personal growth, kind of incorporated into this journey of different songs. So the title is Imparables, and each song is a new story, a new parable that this character goes through. It's an album.
The hardcore record we wrote. Lots of light little fun things for the kids. Lots of heavy things for the teenagers. Some themes for the adults. And a little class for the grandparents.
Imparables was a good excuse for me to join Adeste. Kind of tricked them into that.
Yep.
Imparables definitely took a lot of time crafting our story about what we wanted to do. At first it wasn't quite the concept album that ended up happening, but it was more, we wanted to create a record that you couldn't wait to get to the next song.
And we decided that we wanted it to, if we were going to be putting so much time into it, that it had to be something that was a part of all of us, and that all of us would be a part of it. And so all of our personal experiences, all of our feelings, all of our beliefs were going to be, in one way or another, included into this story.
We stuck to our guns really, and we made something that we wanted to listen to and that we thought everybody else would really want to listen to too, not just something with super auto-tuney vocals and lots of dance breakdowns and trance beats and stuff. We really wanted all of our personalities to shine through in the record, and I feel like we did that, and everybody else saw that, and they saw it was something genuine and real, and they latched onto it.
I'm blowing up. It's probably my agent. I approached Morgan and the rest of the guys in summer of 2008 with the idea of, or I guess the possibility of, creating a concept album. And we really had no idea what to expect or even what it was going to be about. But we had an idea that we wanted to take aspects of our own lives, things that we had struggled with, ways that we had grown, and kind of mold them all into this idea, this concept. And it eventually became Imparables. About a quarter of the way into writing, we realized kind of the story that we were going to tell with this, and that we wanted it not just to be a story, but we wanted the music to tell a story as well. We wanted parts to repeat itself.
We wanted it to be like a musical from start to finish.
Being in the studio was a blast. We demoed out the whole thing at my home studio just to hear what it sounded like before we went in the studio. When it came to the studio, we were blessed to have a couple different options to work with. We tracked drums in a different location to get just a more natural, raw sound of the studio, and that was really cool. And then for the guitars and the keyboards, we tracked it Jason Adams' studio, and then we had everything mixed at a different studio. So it kind of was a different process, and it took a little bit longer to finish the recording phase, but it was definitely well worth it.
Jason Adams produced our record, Imparables, and he was a freaking genius.
And I remember being in the studio with Jason, who was amazing to work with. It gave us a lot of creative control, and that's kind of what we wanted. We wanted to go into this with our idea to essentially have it stay the same way and, you know, just fine-tune things as we went along.
Basically, the recording process was just, I went in there, hammered out my parts in one take, and I went home. I don't know about you guys.
Like a club sandwich, you know, the works.
The artwork has definitely grown to be a huge part of Adeste and what we do. We had a buddy of ours, Nathan Zerdy, come up with this fantastic idea of this artwork by just a 20-minute conversation about who we are, what we wanted to do, and a little bit about the story. And we were just blown away by it. We were amazed the fact that just such little information, he could just craft and depict what we were trying to accomplish musically, but on paper.
I wasn't really ready for how well our CD was received with the general public. And I definitely wasn't ready for the turnout we had at some of our shows after we released it.
We had a big, nice release show. It was a huge success, and right in that November 21st is when the release was, and since then, it has just blown up. And surprisingly, we've just had nothing but great feedback, and it was really interesting how much people were able to understand the concept of the record and what it was really about. The reception of the album was really exciting. I had been in a few bands before, and we've released albums that really did nothing, just sold to a couple friends. But this one really got success over the country. There was people talking about it all over the place and really talking highly of it, and it really surprised me.
I wasn't in any way expecting the kind of response that we got out of Imperables when we released it. I mean, I knew that we had a decent local following, but I mean, no way did I think that we would get as much of a response as we did.
The members of Adeste are completely different people, and I think that's a really good thing, because when a bunch of the same dudes get together, it sounds like everything else that's out there. Nathan Purr, we couldn't have written this record without him.
Nathan's kind of like the father figure. He's always trying to get things in line.
He wrote a majority of the lyrics, and they're all really heartfelt, and you can tell when you listen to it that it's real.
Nate is skittish. He scares more easily than anyone I've ever met.
Not such a bad screamer when you get right down to it. And he looks really good in girl pants.
And then we move over to Marco, who is a lot of the creativity of the record.
Marco is an absolute lunatic.
Marco wanted to come up with a lot of the melodies, but we wouldn't really let him.
He's got a great body, huge muscles. He's got a nice beard.
I'd have to say that Marco is probably, definitely say probably the best musician in the band, and without him, this album definitely wouldn't have been possible.
I can't grow a beard because I'm not a man.
Every good team needs a mom, right? Jeff's like our team mom.
You know, it's the circle of life.
Jeff McMaster, all business all the time.
You know, Jeff, he kind of keeps the band serious.
Core competency.
So if Jeff ever asks you what's your core competency, you just turn right around and ask him, what's your core competency? Right when we started putting this record together and writing for it, Jason McMaster joined us. brother of Jeff McMaster, and having him join Adeste, it was huge for the writing of Imparables. He had all sorts of really sweet ideas.
We found Jason McMaster laying in a gutter. You don't want to know about the state of him. Dirty, stinks.
He's smart. He doesn't just have a good haircut. He's also really smart.
Has a good way with the ladies, if you know what I mean. I think you do.
I don't really know what Jason does.
We picked him up, put his pants back on, dusted him off, put a bass in his hand, and then magic just started happening. Magic. Magic bass.
Anybody ever heard of the icing on the cake?
Yeah.
Brian brings the comic relief when things are a little too serious.
Oh, yeah. I like that.
Let me answer your question with a question. Anybody ever heard of Brian Waters? He is the icing on Adeste's cake.
You know, I remember Brian kind of approached us in our last band, and I don't think he even really played piano at the time, but he kind of approached us saying, like, this is, you know, something I'd love to do, and just to see him grow as a musician has just been unbelievable.
Morgan Hoppensberger is the love of my life.
I taught Morgan to play guitar.
He adds such good, like, structure to the songs. He can write really good songs in their entirety.
You'd think that he was like a machine, the way he can harmonize to anything in a second. He's a really good singer. He's a way better singer than me.
He's so tall. He has the longest legs, biggest feet.
His voice, I remember him singing that last little note, and it's just like, it was like a sip of Sprite.
I think for me personally, the most rewarding thing since its release is being able to play that show and interact and talk with the fans and just, hey, this record helped me through this time in my life, or it's kind of changed the way I think about things, and I get it, and it meant a lot to me. That is what is the big payoff for me. That, you know, all the work behind the scenes stuff to get ready and all the hours you dump into it, that's what it's all about for me. Just people just talking to you, say, hey, this helped me, it made an impact on me.
We moved up here together for the sole purpose of being in this band and writing and recording and releasing Imparables. So really, the reason that all of us are in Orlando is to have worked on this album.
Just from looking back on the history of Adeste, it's really hard to tell, you know, what's in our future. I think we all had one idea of, you know, what moving to Orlando and creating this album would look like, and it's definitely completely different. We've been so blessed as a band just to have such amazing fans that just continue to come out to our shows. Oh gosh. I don't know where we're going. I think we're just going to continue to play our hearts out each and every show for the rest of our life.
We